Well, I'm gonna start off black because probably nothing. This game probably ain't worth. um, the game spoke for itself. I'm just come out and just say it. Falcons lost 43-3. And when I look at this game, um, one thing stood out to me.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
What up, man?
One thing that stood out to me in this game, and what's up, Money Man? One thing that stood out to me, and I'm just started off just like this. Um, it's one of those games where we can say all we want about the coaching, whether or not he could have called this or called that, or Dan Quinn, DMPs could have called this and called that. But I stated this with you in our chat is that at some point players got to man up. You can call all the elaborate schemes and blitzes and deep passes and all that, but when you just don't show up, that's not coaching. We literally got our behinds whipped in all three phases of football. Literally all three phases of football. Defense, special teams, offense. It was literally every aspect of football. We literally got whipped on every aspect of football. That's not a Dean Pease problem. That's not a Arthur Smith problem. That's a player problem. Because the reason being, we literally, I'm gonna just come out and say this. I can give you a perfect example as to why I'm saying this. At running back, you saw a guy that hasn't been getting any reps. This guy, as soon as he got a chance, he got in there and he took his spot. He said, I don't give a dang about the score. This is my time to shine. And we talking about Gallman. Wayne Gallman got his opportunity and he stepped up. This guy literally, and I'm talking about Mike Davis, the dude played like absolute horse shit for the second, third game in a row. He literally, like, at some point, you got to look at yourself as a player and as a coach embarrassed. I literally saw what I saw last year in the first half of the game. Nobody played with any enthusiasm. The only person I really saw play with any enthusiasm is two guys. That's Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts. That's literally all I saw.
Yeah, man. I can completely agree with you, Mike. Before I say anything, I want to go ahead and get to the super chat before we lose it in the chat. Matty Go says, for all you Quinn lovers, Dallas has Pro Bowl talent at every level on defense. Our defense doesn't have the talent. And I can kind of agree with this actual statement. I said this on Tuesday night when we did the heavy hitter show. We had Wiz on, and I talked about they just have more talent, like in the trenches. Dan Quinn has more to work with there in Dallas. So I can completely agree with this super chat, and we do appreciate that $5 super chat from Matty Ghost. But I completely agree. Like the talent that Dallas has, they have a little bit more talent than we have, especially in the trenches, because they draft guys not based off of, what you do off the field, or if they have had off the field issues. They just draft based off of talent, period. even if because we know that a guy like Randy Gregory, who wasn't out there today, is a guy even in college who was suspended and things of that nature, and they still drafted him. So I definitely can kind of agree with the super chat, but I kind of want to talk about just what I analyzed while watching the game. To me, in this game, we kind of just ran into a buzzsaw. Like you said, Mike, this game, if you listen to the guys that were calling the game, Greg Olsen talked about it. Like, this game was reversed of the way that Dallas played last week. Like, pretty much the Broncos went in there and pretty much just handed it to the Cowboys. This game was the exact opposite, where we walked into a buzzsaw. We didn't come out with any enthusiasm, and the Cowboys took advantage. They came out and threw the first punch, and they basically just kept coming. Those punches kept coming. They just came in throwing haymakers. And to me, we didn't do anything to combat their aggressiveness. Now, one thing that I can say is that the Cowboys are not a 40 points better than the Falcons. I know that, hands down. Even if they may be a better team than us overall, they're not 40 points better than us. Today, what we saw, like you said, is just show some pride. Like, yeah, sometimes it's going to be a lopsided, defeat. But I was looking to see which players weren't actually giving up out there. Like you talked about in the chat, Mike, like who has some pride? Like I seen Richie Grant come in and punch the football out. Even though we were down by 30 points at that point, I was looking for somebody to step up and make a play. You know what I'm saying? Because Richie Grant probably knew me punching this ball out at this point, the game was pretty much, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Dallas had the control of the game, but he still was out there competing. Another player, Frank Darby, that hasn't been getting minutes. To me, I would start giving him playing time because, yeah, Lamadé Zaccheaus is good. Yeah, Tarjay Sharp are good, but I feel like they're not that much better than a guy like Frank Darby. Now, I don't know what's going on at practice, but I just feel like a lot of those guys are guys you got to scheme open. Like none of those guys are great. And we talked about that on Tuesday night. Like those guys are interchangeable. Just how DMPs is using those guys on the back end, like the Williamsons, like the Avery Williams, pretty much all of these young guys. I don't see a huge gap between talent with these young guys. Now, in this game, Dan Quinn did surprise me because we seen that all eyes was on Kyle Pitts. And I think in this game, they kind of tried to feature Kyle Pitts a little bit too much. And Dallas did take away Kyle Pitts, surprisingly. Like he was double, triple teamed. They weren't going to allow him to beat us. And really pretty much nobody stepped up. I think Matt Ryan kind of looked Kyle Pitts' way a little bit too much in this game. The one where he threw the interception to Trayvon Diggs, he had Sharp running wide open on the sideline. So I think he was kind of focused in on let me feed Kyle Pitts because he's a mismatch nightmare. But they kind of did a good job of trying to take him away. But everything we said on Tuesday night came to fruition in this game. If you guys go back and watch Tuesday night show, I said that this Dallas team reminds me of the 2016 Falcons. And if you watch this game, it played out just like our 2016 Falcons. They jumped out to a big lead, and their defense was opportunistic off of that because the Falcons kind of had to go away from their running game once they got down multiple scores. And that's when those corners that they have, like Diggs, who like to jump routes, they were able to just pin their ears back, even their defensive linemen. Once they realized, okay, we've taken the running option out of the game because of the score, time, and possession, they pretty much was able just to pin their ears back. So I pretty much think that's pretty much my analysis.
Really? You just could have stayed. All you had to do was just stay away. You could have been all right, man. Go ahead.
I just want to get a few minutes in. I'll go back and take my lesson. I've never seen a castration on live TV before. I appreciate everybody with the well wishes. It's all good right now, but nah, bro. You can't lose a game like that. You can't lose a game like that. That like I said, Dallas just literally just took their balls and snatched it from them and dared them to get it back.
Mm-hmm. They really did.
That if it, like I said, they going for it on fourth down. It just like y'all said, who wanted it? Nobody wanted it.
Money Man, go ahead before I like I'm trying not to explode, but
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I feel the same. I feel the same way you feel. It's like, you know, at this point, it's like this week, last week, this week, past week, you had DMPs explaining about he didn't even go over most of his playbook because he was preserving it because he felt like the players ain't there yet. When are you going to open up the playbook? This is the time we need it now. You know, these same basic plays that you've been running the whole first half of the season, these defensive callings that you've been doing, it's not working. It's not working. And it seems like this every game. You know, we play too far back in coverage. We get with like any team can just throw any way, like any team can just throw how they want to throw, and the pass is caught because you got defenders off. They'll sit there and watch a receiver catch the ball right in front of him, then run to him. You saw the man when he came out the backfield. Why you is latching on him to him then? I mean, it's just common sense things that we are messing up on. We need this playbook now, DPs. It's a time now where you got to stop talking about it and really be about it. Because we tired of hearing and hearing and hearing. We've been hearing these sympathy words for years now. And we tired of hearing it as fans.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and this is where this is not going to be popular whatsoever. We just got to realize what this team is. This is not a game of Madden. You can't just up the attributes on players. That's just not how it works. The Falcons just don't have the players, and whether we see it or not, Dallas has a very deep team on both sides of the ball. It's just that simple. When you're playing teams with depth, you get exposed. All right. So this is all what happened today. It's not a matter of whether or not you could have called a different play. Sometimes the opponent just better than you. It's really that simple. Just got to give it to Dallas. Their team is just deeper than what the Falcons are on the defensive side of the ball. We got smacked upside the head by their offense. Their offense, and this is why we kept saying even on Tuesday, y'all got to listen to what we say on Tuesday. This Dallas team, it reminds us of that 2016 Falcons team where offensively are absolutely loaded. It's that simple.
But what I'm saying, Mike, is I believe that we have the players on defense. We could at least add a little more season flavor to what we had. We just don't know how to use them.
We don't have it. I'm telling you right now, we don't have the players. Let's be real. We can't. We are not what we are.
Right.
This team is much. Go ahead, Jude.
I ain't mean to cut you off, Mike. And what I'm trying to say, Money Man, when he's saying that we don't have the players, like in today's game, it's like without Isaiah Oliver in that secondary, you don't have it to match up with every single player they got. When they got Michael Gallup, when they got CeeDee Lamb, when they got Amari Cooper, on some of those plays, and this is what DMPs was talking about, and this is why he got ticked off with the media when he got pissed off with D-Led when they were talking about bringing pressures. We seen today on that touchdown by CeeDee Lamb when Avery Williams was in man-to-man coverage and he brought that blitz. He wasn't able to stay with CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. That was able to just backpedal enough, throw the ball in the corner of the end zone, and it was so much field out there. When you're blitzing and you're in man-to-man coverage like that, unless you have lockdown corners, and even sometimes when you got lockdown corners, one slip, one fall, one mistake, or a perfect pass beats you every time. And that's pretty much what we saw today. It's like, that's what Mike's saying. Like, we do have some decent players. I'm not saying that this team is bad, because one thing we got to look at, and that's why I like with Arthur Smith, he talked about it. Matt Ryan says it all the time. You're never as bad as it looks. You're never as good as it looks. Like last week, you have to be somewhere in the middle. Like, this Falcons team is not terrible. This Falcons team isn't great. They're just an average team. Let's just be real. Now, Dallas on the other end, on their offensive side, they're like the 2016 Falcons. They have a lot more weapons. Now, if we still had Julio, if we still had Ridley out there, then we could match up with them as far as offensively. You know, we could compare with that 2016 team. But without basically the only weapon you got out there that's pretty much unstoppable is Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson. Other than those two guys, and it looks like Cordell Patterson kind of got banged up early in the game.
Yeah.
Other than those two guys, you really don't have a bunch of mismatches. Other than those, I'll say in Hayden Hurst, because in certain situations he's a mismatch problem as well. But other than those three guys, Olamide Zaccheaus, Tarjay Sharp, on most teams, those guys are the fourth, maybe fifth receiver. So you don't really have a great offense. Like Matt Ryan has just been working magic. Him and Arthur Smith has been working magic, and making basically chicken salad out of chicken, like those guys is out there making, they making plays. So I agree on defense. We just don't have enough, especially with those injuries. Like it was a reason they didn't play these guys in preseason, and it's because we didn't have the depth. If one of your star guys go down, and that's why when Isaiah Oliver went down, I was like, man, that's going to be a huge blow because we have a lot of young guys on that secondary, a lot of young guys, like guys that are unproven. And when you have guys that are unproven, you see what you get. Like Dallas is one of those teams where they got guys that's been there. Dak at this point is the seasoned veteran. So he's not on Matt Ryan's level, but he's playing it in that upper echelon of quarterbacks where he knows where to go with the football. Like on that play where we brought the blitz, he knew that CeeDee Lamb was one-on-one with Avery Williams. He just threw a pinpoint pass, and that's something that you could tell practice. Like that was just an easy pitch and catch. Go ahead, K Styles.
I got 3 words. 4th and 7.
Yeah.
Where the whole game changed right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't pay attention to that. 4th and 7. This is one of those situations where you have to take whatever points you get. That's the risk. That's the risk you run of trying to be aggressive. And what a Jew, and we always say here, Atlanta Falcon Nation, it comes down to 3 to 5 plays. Today's game came down to 1 play, and that was the failed 4th and 7. Them motherfuckers literally scored.
Yeah.
36 unanswered points after that.
And let's get these super chats out of the way. The grooming piece is not doing the Matt Ryan contract is holding us back from getting those players. He need to take a cut. Look, I don't know how many times we're gonna keep saying this. It's not true. Okay, it's not true. Matt Ryan only accounts for maybe 20% of the total team contract. So what you're talking about is this has been a long history of bad contracts. One contract does not kill the entire salary cap. It's a continuation. We keep going back to Devontae Freeman, the Robert Alford, the Mohamed Sanu, giving him extra $10-15 million when we could have drafted a replacement to do what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. When you have these bad contracts, that's what helps. So when you get one contract whether you give it to Grady Jarrett or you give it to Matt Ryan, that one contract is not going to kill the team. It's what you do with the little contracts, like extending guys, like I just say we don't.
I'll tell you a prime example, Mike. CP. I'll say a prime example of CP. Like when we brought CP in, we didn't think that he was going to come in and be able to contribute, but for the money that CP makes and for all that he can do with the money, like you got to look at what can a player do. Like, can this player play special teams? Can this player, like CP, we're saving so much money. Like for us to get him in free agency, he's underpaid. You know what I'm saying? So basically what you're saying is if you're going to pay somebody, they better be a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you're going to give them those big dollars. We gave guys big dollars that weren't game changers. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need. And that's the reason why I really don't have a problem with what the LA Rams are doing. Like people are like, well, they're going all in and they may not win. That's true. But if I'm going to go all in and give you a bunch of money, You better be Von Miller. You better be Jalen Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? You better not be somebody that's
we gave
one of these
Devontae
middle of the pack type guys and
Robert
getting a big contract. Yeah.
We gave those guys, like those guys are not game
Tyler Davidson, prime example.
Tyler Davidson, like he had no business giving him that money. And like those are the things we're talking about. So not one contract doesn't kill a team. Even if you give the quarterback, $100 million, that one contract never kills a team. So at the end of the day, I know everybody's frustrated. I know, this is just all about patience. This team, like you said, we're not as good as we thought we were, and we're not as bad as it may seem. And like I said, I'm trying my best to get at these super chats. GD, we beat the Jets, we beat the Giants, Dolphins, and the Saints. Third string quarterback. We're not a good team. We're not at the same level as Dallas, Green Bay, and Arizona. And again, I don't agree with that. A win is hard to come by in the NFL. Okay? Let me repeat that. A win is hard to come by in the NFL. This is why we're talking about does anybody talking about the Bucs losing today? Tom Brady throwing 2 picks in the first half? We talking about that? So like this calming horses. Look, I know we did not play well. But 4 wins is still 4 wins. This is the same Dallas that got ran up 190 yards rushing last week. They're not as good as it made it seem. Sometimes you just sometimes it's just one of them games where you just get an onslaught. And we just got pimp slapped, and we got that happens in the NFL. The Bills were talking about being everybody was talking about the Bills were being a Super Bowl contender, and they got pimp slapped by Jacksonville. Everything is not as good as they make it seem, and it's not as bad. So, like I said, I'm trying my best to get to it. Jay Walt, appreciate the super chat for that for $1, and Cortez, why the commentators acting like this wasn't a Dan Quinn defense? It was Dan Quinn, and the TD fault. And that's a great point right here. This is what we're talking about. Like I said, I'm get back to everybody, but I'm trying to really get to these super chats. This is what we're talking about. This is not Arthur Smith's players. A lot of these guys are still not his players. So you got to give him time to get his players in, give him 2-3 years to finally get his players in, and then kind of figure out what he is. But right now, there's still a Dan Quinn team. This is still Dan Quinn's team. A lot of these players have come for other teams, and a lot of these guys are still rookies. We got a ton of freaking rookies on this team, offensively and defensively. So, like I said before, I know it looks bad, and I know today was absolutely horrendous. But that happens in the NFL. That happens. Anybody else got
anything
to say?
Yeah.
We missed somebody super chat, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off down at the bottom, but I think we missed the one that we answered the one for Weezy B, Mike. It was up there for a while.
That's the one I was looking for.
He said we were basically missing Calvin Ridley, and that was a huge deal in this game. Like, it really showed up in this game. It's basically the gist of what he was saying. And I agree with Weezy B. We appreciate the super chat. I think it was like a $5 super chat from Weezy B. We appreciate it. It was up there for a while, but we were kind of talking. But I agree with him. Like we seen today, and that's what I was talking about with the Michael Gallups, with the CeeDee Lambs. Like, at the end of the day, it is about the X's and O's, but it's also about the Jimmys and the Joes. Like, you got to have those players. Like, it's a reason why I didn't want Julio to leave. Let's be real. Like, yeah, he left, and I'm not going to beg no man to stay. If you want to go, then there's the door. But at the end of the day, Olamide Zaccheaus, Tajay Sharp, they don't command double teams like Julio Jones. They're not Julio Jones, where you can just throw the ball. How many times today did we see Matt Ryan throw the ball and it was in guys' hands, the ball get bobbled up and get intercepted? Like, those are the type of plays where you got a playmaker out there, a bigger physical wide receiver like Mohamed Sanu, to a lesser degree, Julio Jones, even a Tony Gonzalez, they're snatching that ball away from the defender. If anything, how many times we've seen Matt Ryan throw an errant pass and Julio Jones go tackle somebody and don't allow them to intercept it? You know what I'm saying? It's those small plays that we talk about that's the difference. That shows up in the game because you don't come away with that interception. So you still got the football. It's just incomplete pass. Those are the small intricate details that we're talking about. Like K-Style said it. I said as soon as I seen it. Yeah, well, I seen it as soon as that 4th and 7 happened. I said I was at the restaurant watching the game today with my family, and I told my pops, I said, why are they not kicking a field goal here? You're not at home. You don't have the advantage. Why are you going for it on 4th and 7? Like, the only time you go for it in that situation is if it's at the end of the game and like you're down more than a field goal. They had no business going for it on 4th and 7 right there. When you have a kicker that's automatic, you kick the field goal, you make the game 6-7. You make the game tighter. Why are you going for it? Like, for what? Like, it made no sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do stuff that makes sense. And we talked about this on Tuesday night. I talked about coaching. Arthur Smith, yeah, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Hindsight's 2020. If we make the 4th and 7, then we're not talking about it. But you have to do stuff that makes sense. Like, if Arthur Smith came in his press conference and he states why he did that, then I possibly will give him a pass. But to me, what is your reason for doing that?
I thought that was a good idea. The reason why I believe that was a good idea is because we just don't match up well defensively against them. Like, when you don't match up well with your opponent, we did not have enough corners to go against their receivers. That just be not like, again, we can sit back and second guess why, but when you look at it, we just don't have the talent defensively to match up with offenses like Dallas. All right. And that's what it all comes down to. One-on-one matches, one-on-one matchups. And like I said before, I know a lot of people like to say, oh, you're giving up excuses, but sometimes you just don't match up well with their opponent. So, Alex, what kind of give your thoughts on things, bro?
I'm not gonna lie. As I was doing scouting this week, well, first let's talk about last year. Last year, what I noticed is we used to do a lot of play action plays and do like deep outs and stuff, which I really, really, really loved. That's like one of the few things that I really loved about the play calling. But I understand that Arthur Smith can't always do that just because of the personnel. Even though I think he can do it to a certain extent, he just doesn't do it that often. But I understand why. But other than that, there's not much of a way we can really get explosive plays with our personnel right now. Like, I love Olamide Zaccheaus because he can.
Damn little, man. They too goddamn little.
Exactly.
They too damn little. Okay, let me repeat that. We out there playing with midgets, bro. Let's be real. Olamide Zaccheaus is 5'7".
He is.
In fact,
he can't, like, you can't always just work with people that you got to have like players that can actually separate and catch the ball.
And like I said, I apologize. And this is why we have to be real with ourselves. We are out there playing with guys. Olamide Zaccheaus, he like 5'8", bro, and we got Christian Blake. He's like 6 feet and he's like 115 pounds, bro. Frank Darby ain't big himself. He may be 200 pounds. That's why he's not seeing a lot of time. Our receivers are just too damn little to play the physical style of football that we want. We just too damn little. We don't have the talent. Okay, and this is why I'm so upset with a guy like Kevin Ridley. Yeah. Because he is the guy that's going to get those double teams for us. And when he's not there, we get exposed for what we are. We don't have the talent.
With a guy like Calvin Ridley, it opens up the short to intermediate game, which is what Matt Ryan thrives on. Like, Matt Ryan, let's face it, he doesn't have a Josh Allen arm. We don't have that luxury right now. And especially with no other player outside of Russell Gage that can burn anyone over the top, we're limited.
Mm-hmm.
We're limited. We're out here trying to throw horizontal passes with Cordero Patterson, who's getting locked up by like cowboy corners. Kyle Pitts is being double teamed and has Trevon Diggs on him, and we don't have anything. Like, I love Olamide Zaccheaus, but he can only do what his body, can tell him to do. Like, he's a great route runner, but other than that, like, we can't do anything. Like, and then on top of it, and sometimes it pisses me off, right? Because I know that our team, talent-wise, isn't up there with some luxuries that other teams have. But sometimes coaching aspects just drive me insane, because there are things that I look at that I'm like, what was your mindset in calling that? And then, like, what was the reasoning behind that? And it, but
let me say this. Let me say this. Oh my gosh! Just listen to this wide receiver core. Russell Gage, all right. Christian Blake is 6 feet 180 pounds. Russell Gage is 6 feet 180 pounds. Where's Zaccheaus? Let me see what Olamide Zaccheaus. Zaccheaus is 5'8", 198 pounds. I don't know if I believe that, but he's 5'8", 190. Frank Darby is okay, so he is. Come on, man. I know y'all got some stats on him. Hey, y'all ain't even got a damn.
He like 6 feet.
No,
I think he like 6.
He like 6'1", 205.
Yeah.
So would the issue be more so is like, is it because that they're little, or is it because they play little? Because there's a big difference.
I think it's what the style of football, especially with like DBs today. A lot of DBs, they're long. So when you got guys who are like, 6 feet, 190 pounds, a lot of those guys don't play big to begin with. So when you got a guy like Julio Jones is a big guy. Calvin Ridley, he's a big guy. He's not huge, but he's still 6 feet, 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? He's still big enough. These guys are barely 6 feet. Okay? And when you got these bigger corners, bigger linebackers, all they really have to do is put their hands up. And a lot of these guys, like a lot of them don't know how to use their body. And this is something that I've been talking about today with Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is he's still a great receiver, but he's yet to learn how to use his body. And a lot of these guys in the system that Arthur Smith runs, he needs big body receivers. And these guys they're just too small. That's why you see guys like, Hayden Hurst, Kyle Pitts, Lee Smith. Like, a lot of people don't realize having him out was huge today. It was huge. So that's like I said, these injuries, we just have these receivers just too little, man. And when you have these little receivers, we can't have Mike Smith, Mike Davis.
There you go, Mike. Mike, you right on it, Mike. That's where I was going.
So Mike Davis went from, at the beginning of the season, we called him the UPS truck. Now he's the Dollar Tree Tonka truck now.
Yeah, he's the Dollar Tree Tonka truck. That's exactly what. Oh my God!
Ouch!
Yeah. I have something to say. All right, when you was going back over, the height and weight of the receivers, right? Like, I don't feel that weight and that height can make a difference, because at the end of the day, when you playing wide receiver, it's all about the speed and creating separation on your route running. Long as you open and can catch a ball open, the weight and size doesn't matter. Now, I like with Steve. Like, let's go back to Steve Smith. Steve Smith was what 5'7", 5'8", and look how he became.
Well,
Eight.
Steve, he can
ate.
still create. That's look. Let me tell you something.
I think
Steve was a complete different animal. Steve, yeah, he was 5'10", but Steve could still jump out of the gym. These guys can't jump. Steve was an exceptional athlete. So when we talk about guys who are 5'8", yeah, you can be 5'8". We see Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is, you look at him in the NBA, yeah, he's 6 feet, but this dude can jump out of the gym. You know what I'm saying? So, like, size is a small part of it, but you got to still look at the scheme when we talking about. The scheme.
How about Sproles from the Eagles?
You're still talking about scheme. Look, it's deeper than just. Let's follow me here. You're talking
just
about.
Like I said, I think it has a lot to do with, you know, at the end of the day, just like you said, you're right. It's about scheme, and it also has something to do with speed and creating separation. Basically, you know, how I could say it. Well, we're gonna go past that.
Look, like
so basically, how you run your routes, how you
It don't matter if you got speed or not. Okay, speed means absolutely nothing in the NFL. Okay, everybody got speed in the NFL. Can you run the proper routes?
It's about execution, and create separation. Because at the end of the day, I think it's more like the training, how they're being trained. Because other players develop faster than others, and we have to have we got to have somebody that can have a proper training for the ones that slow to develop, some kind of dummy way for them to develop faster. Because
that's
just like
right,
I said,
NFL, bro. I feel what you're saying, but that's NFL is the land of the fast. You either pick it up fast or your ass get left behind. It's really that simple in the NFL. It's no dummy system like college. Go ahead, K-Style.
Look, I was gonna say, like I said, I'm gonna say it like this: no matter how big you are, no matter what scheme it is, you gotta have the mentality to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you talked about Steve Smith wanted it. When you talk, like I said, when you talk about these smaller receivers, like I said, you could look at a Cooper Kupp, or you could look at certain guys like this. They're not the fastest guys. They may not be the biggest guys.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is you have to play bigger than what you are. Like I said, we could be looking at the receivers we got and say, okay, yeah, they're small. What are you willing to do to overcome that? Maybe.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what are you willing to do to overcome that? Because we're not gonna talk about the drop ball Russell Gage had in the red zone, which all he had to do was cuddle it up, and he didn't do it.
And another thing I want to bring to y'all attention too, since we talk about receivers, what about Tyreek Hill? He ain't that tall, but his speed is his advantage. How he route run and execute his routes, and that's what got him the way he is now because of his speed. That's how he got advantage on defenders because of speed. Speed does matter.
And Calvin Ridley,
that's a big factor. That's the same thing with Calvin Ridley. Speed.
Hold on. Wait. 1 second. Hold on. Wait. 1 second. 1 second. You're talking about speed, okay? This is where we gotta This is where we got to get it right. Just because you have speed does not mean you can get open. John Ross is one of those guys. When you look at John Ross, he ran the fastest combine speed ever. Okay, the dude ran like a 4.1 or some crazy mess like that. He got to the NFL, he could not get open. Why? Because his route running wasn't refined. Just because you got speed, people, does not mean it's guaranteed. This is what K-Style was talking about being able to want it. Everybody has speed in the NFL. You got guys at corner who can run a 4-2, but do they have that mentality? And this is where during the game, I wanted somebody to step up like a Richie Grant to say, man, look, I'm about to make a play. I need to make a play. We down 40 points right now. Look, I need to make a play. And good gracious, we got a lot of Falcons fans that's really in their feelings. So,
and then you also got to look at my bad. You also have to look at the offense that run in Kansas City with Tyreek Hill. Most of his routes is running those deep speed routes. That's all that's mostly what he runs. So, like you said, it's all gonna be going back to scheme. It's always gonna be based on scheme because it's not a guarantee that Tyreek Hill will be the same player if he played for a guy like Arthur Smith. It's not a guarantee. At the end of the day, every NFL player that's on an NFL team is scheme based. From quarterbacks to wide receivers to running backs to DBs, linebackers, all that. You're all scheme based.
Okay.
And I wanted just to add one thing, Mike, before you go real quick, about this whole conversation that we're having about scheme. Really what's failing the Falcons right now on offense, and we're kind of forgetting this because we're so used to being a passing team. Our running game is not opening up the pass. So as much as we getting on these guys for not being able to get open, yeah, they're little. And if you go look at like the Patriots who had those smaller guys like Wes Welker, what did they also have? They had a top running game. The Patriots always had a good running game when Tom Brady was there and a good defense. What we're not looking at is we're in the bottom half again in the league, I believe, in running the football. We're struggling to run the ball. Like I'm really been really disappointed in Mike Davis and disappointed in the running game. Like in the first game against the Eagles, in the first couple games of the season, we ran the ball really well. But if you go look at the last couple games, even the games that we've won, we haven't ran the ball well. And Arthur Smith's scheme is predicated on the run. So if you're not running the ball well, this scheme, like we're going to struggle because Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan, but this type of scheme where it's a lot of slant routes is made for the bigger physical wide receivers. It's made to be a physical style offense because it's a run first offense. And if you look at our numbers, it's in the ball, we're running the ball per clip, like per carry. We're in the lower half of the league. So that's another thing that we got to really take a look at that we're kind of glossing over, even talking about the receivers. This scheme is based off of being able to run the football, open up play action. We're not running the ball well. So teams are not biting down. They're not bringing that extra safety down because we don't have to. If I could stop you with my front four or with my front seven, with my linebackers, why am I going to bring my strong safety down to help to create those one-on-one matchups? You can double and triple team Kyle Pitts when the running game is not potent. But if this running game was humming, we're getting 4 and 5 yards a clip, a carry, then you would have to drop down those extra guys in the box to help stop the run. And that creates man-to-man coverage. So that's another thing that we got to pay attention to that we're kind of glossing over with this Arthur Smith scheme. It's predicated off the run.
Jew is absolutely right. That's something I've noticed too. In play action, specifically in the Saints game, I noticed that the linebackers weren't digging down the way that I thought they would. In the earlier part of the season, they were biting down. In Washington game, they were, even though we didn't run the ball that well. They dug down, and now in these recent games, it's not the same effect. But what I've noticed specifically on the defensive end is outside of AJ Durrell and Fabian Moreau to a certain extent, like we don't really have like our DBs need to clean up their technique. Like that's what I noticed. In man coverage, they need to clean up their technique, and that's something that I've been hoping for. But like I've only seen Jalen Hawkins really just like solidify himself as maybe a backup nickel. Eric Harris is kind of getting close there, but like I need to see more, and everyone else is just kind of like falling off. Like Fabian Moreau is good, but I still need to see some more stuff from them. And
do I have to say this again? Do I really have to say this again? We're just not that damn good. Let's just try to stop pretending like we're very good. Defensively, we're just not very good. So you're going to have these up and down games. This is why you need coaching to go with it, with them also. All right, let's just look. We got to stop blaming DMPs. We got to stop blaming Arthur. These guys just don't have the talent they need for their offense to succeed. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get these up and down games. You're going to get a game where you see damn, why man, they done put up 40 points on the Bucks. Why we can't put up 40 against the Dallas? Because they don't have the talent. And talent, you got to have depth. All right. NFL is all about depth. You can have the guys that are talented, 1, 2 guys that are talented here and there, but you need depth. But Miss Asia, let's get you. Let's what you got to say. And first of all, how are you feeling? That's what we need to figure
out. Well, in the beginning, when we started with 3 points, I was like, okay, so we could get in the groove. But then once the defense, they just kept letting Dallas slide down the field. I was like, okay, I don't think we have a chance. And then once it hit 21-3, I was like, okay, I don't think we have a chance at this point. And then that the 4th and 7, I don't agree with that play call because I don't understand why we tried to go for it instead of kick a field goal. Because I know a field goal wouldn't help, but at least we would get some points from that instead of sending that 3 points. And then that blocked punt, that's something we barely have trouble with. Like, we usually get punts down the field. This is the first time in a while I've seen us get a blocked punt. So at that point, that just showed us the game. And then when they went for 2, I was like, yeah, I don't know what this was that I saw, because it just felt like the Eagles game in the beginning of the season. Like, I don't think I've ever been this embarrassed about this team in a while. I mean, I'll always be a fan, but today something wasn't clicking on both sides of the ball. Like, the offense, we couldn't get the run game going. The passing game, we were okay with. But then when Matt started throwing interceptions, that's when I was like, okay, there's something not clicking between the coaches and the players. Now, I'm not going to blame Matt because this was none of his fault. I mean, he has some ups and downs in the game, but the defense itself, I don't know what's going on with the communication with the players on the field, because I don't even think they're communicating with each other, which is another problem, which is why nobody can sync with each other. And that's why you see cornerbacks that are 10 yards behind, giving all that space to the wide receivers. Like, I don't understand how CeeDee Lamb was getting wide open, and you see none of the secondary. You see them on the other side of the field, and then you see CeeDee Lamb sitting there by himself, and he was like, okay, I'm going to take this down the field. And then, of course, they score against us. And once it hit 43-3, I just started laughing. I couldn't even be happy. I was just sitting here laughing at the whole team because I'm glad at least it happened in Dallas instead of here, because it would have been worse here. It would have been 10 times worse in Atlanta. But the fact that we lose to them for a second straight year again, that's just really, I don't know. Because, I kind of blame Pease, too, on top of that. Because I don't know what his play calling is. He plays way too conservative for the past maybe few games. Our defense has almost given up a game for us. Like, it shouldn't have to come down to a last-minute field goal for us to win. We should be able to handle teams and put them in their place. We can't even put teams in their place. The fact that we have to come back and try to kick a field goal to win the game, that's sad. Something needs to be fixed, because if not, we're not a playoff-ready team right now. With this defense that we have, if they can turn around these next few games, then maybe. But from what I'm seeing so far on this team, I don't know.
Well, I see where you're coming from, and as much as I really do want to blame DMPs, at least today, like I've been harping on him like earlier in the season. I understand the reasoning of why he called the game he did. Like I feel like he did use a little bit too much single high coverages for my personal taste, but like the cover 2, the cover 4 are all like justifiable things, and even like the cover 3 going into cover 2, those are things that like stop good teams. For example, the reasons why the Chiefs aren't doing that well is because a lot of teams play cover 2, and Travis Kelce has also been off his game a little bit. But that's to take away deep passing game. And overall, like it's a good plan. It's a good plan to use because it also helps disguise your coverages. You can run a lot of man and exotic zones out of too high coverages. But I feel like he could have ran that up a little bit more and also like disguise our defenses a little bit more. Like, not a lot of teams need to know that we're playing man all up front. Like, you don't need to just have them close to the line all the time just to show that we're playing man. Like, you can go off and then come up to the line.
Let me just. I hear everything that you guys are saying, but we gotta realize. Guess what? Dallas is smart too. They have smart players too. You don't think that they know what's coming? All right. So we gotta give this. This is what this is why Jew and us always say what we say. Gotta respect your opponent. Your opponent is just as smart, they're just as talented. So I understand that, like, you know, when it all comes down to it, when teams know, when teams put up these types of efforts, then we're trying to figure out what went wrong. Sometimes it's just as simple as they're just better than us. All right. So you can at this point, we know we just don't have the talent. We don't have the talent in the secondary. We don't have the talent to keep up with a Cooper, CD Lamb, the tight end, I forget his name.
Schultz.
Tony Dawson Schultz. We don't have the talent to keep up with these guys. We just don't. And it's no amount of cover 2 or cover 3 that's gonna change that. We just look. You can't stop Steph from shooting the threes. He's gonna be looking in the stands posing. You can't stop that 3-point. You can't stop him from shooting. He's just a damn shooter, and that's just the way it is a lot of time. All right. So
hey, Mike,
again,
I
go
do
ahead.
understand where you come. I do understand where you're coming from, Mike. You know, Jew and everybody. That makes a lot of sense. What I feel like I don't feel like excuse me, turn this light on right quick. Get some light in here. I don't feel like the Falcons as a coaching staff got, this thing in their head of, we're going to give up on the season, because they're still going to be competitive. It's just one of those things today. The same thing with Tampa Bay earlier. Tampa Bay got beat by Washington Washington football team today. So it's any given Sunday, anybody can get whooped. And we have to stop doing this. Oh man, the Falcons, we got whooped or whatever. But like you said earlier, is anybody else talking about Tampa Bay losing today? Anybody talking about, of course the Saints played Tennessee. They lost today. What about the game that's going on right now? The Panthers are whooping up on the Arizona Cardinals 20-0. Nobody's talking about those games. You know what I'm saying? But needless to say, I think DMPs and Arthur Smith are looking at the talent that they do have. It's not so much of, I take that back. It is that we don't have the talent, but it doesn't negate the fact that we are looking at the talent that we do have. Because even when next year comes around for the new league year, we're not going to have a whole lot of money. Right now, we're projected to have $15 million for next year. That can change based off of restructuring deals or releasing some people, but we are not going to really see any money come back to the Falcons until 2024, when we'll have a salary cap to get players. But during this time period, I'm looking, towards next year, the Falcons will get better. Everybody want instant gratification right now. Everybody's looking for instant gratification, and it's sad that we continue to look for instant gratification. First year head coach, yes, Dean Pease has been a defensive coordinator in other places, but he's had at least a good bit of talent where he's been. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and those people, those are talented players. We don't have them players here. Yes, AJ Terrell is doing his thing, but guess what? He's still young. He's going to have mental lapses and things of that nature. So we have to look at it from another perspective than what we're looking at it right now. That's all.
Jeremy, what you got, bro?
About this game, the only thing that really bothered me was the 4th and 7. I felt like we should have just took the points because what people aren't paying attention, it's about the momentum. You on the road, you're going up against a better team. If you get that 6, if you make it 6-7, make Dallas go 75 yards instead of that shorter field. Once they got that touchdown off that short field, to me it was like you have to stop the bleeding, and then you get the 3 and out, put them right back out there. After that, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch the whole game. After it got up to 21-3, I said it's over. But as far as DMPs, I think he's doing the best he can with what he got. I mean, I don't know what you expect. I mean, and I never thought I'd miss Isaiah Oliver as much as I do. Hey,
you know I love that.
I'm not gonna lie, I used to rag on him, but man, he done got better and better, and we missing him in the secondary.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you guys this question. Let me ask everybody. I want to ask everybody this question. Outside of Grady, Debo, Fourier, Terrell, who on this defense are you putting on your man team? Let's be real.
Nobody.
On your man team.
Listen.
I might put Anthony Rush on there just because he's a big body.
Hey, I like Michael Walker. I like Michael Walker.
But that's telling right there. There's not a lot of guys on this team that you would even want on your Madden team. And we're supposed to be a top-ranked defense with these guys. And like I said, we're just not that good.
But Mike, watch all the hate that Avery Williams get throughout the week. And he's a young player. Watch all the hate he get this week. Oh, he should have did this. Or I'm like, hold on, you're asking a 5th-round draft pick to stick with a 1st-round amazing talent in CD Lamb. I'm not saying he's all world, but he's a great talent to where he is. But watch all the hate that Avery Williams get this week. Just watch your Twitter and watch Bleacher Report and watch all the hate that this kid gets. And if it turns out that he is not mentally strong as well, he's gonna take it a certain way, and he may not play his best.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why we go back to what we said. Styles make fights. That's what Mike's been talking about. Like this Thursday, trust me, if this Falcons team is pissed off, we play this Thursday night. So you got a quick turnaround to forget what happened today and go out there and play on Thursday night. But I can tell you one thing, the Patriots is not trotting out CeeDee Lamb. They're not trotting out Amari Cooper. They're not trotting out a Dawson Schultz. On that Patriots offense, you got Kendrick Bourne, I think, at wide receiver. You got what's the one kid that played Jacoby Myers? You don't have that talent that Dallas has. Dallas is one of the best offenses in the league. That's why I compared them to our 2016 team. And that's why I say that the Falcons, just relax. The Falcons are going to win more games this season because Dallas is just a bad matchup. We just said, and that's what Mike is talking about when he says we don't have the talent. It's not saying that we don't have the talent to compete with nobody in the league. When you play those upper echelon teams, Dallas may have the best offense in the league as far as weapons. So you're not going to face that juggernaut every week. And injuries do happen. This is football. So even Dallas right now, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but it's a long season. So next time, if it is the next time we come around, you got to play them. Who knows? Like we got Dante Fowler back today. Guys get injured. It's the NFL. And that's what kind of evens out the playing field in the NFL as well, is the injuries. Injuries are going to happen. We just seen Robert Woods go down with the Rams. That's the reason they signed OBJ. I didn't realize that Robert Woods tore his ACL. But that's going to balance things out because now they go from having 3 elite receivers down to 2 elite receivers. We seen it with Calvin Ridley being put on the IR for our team. You went from having Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley now to just Russell Gage and Kyle Pitts. That makes a huge difference. So just relax. We got plenty of games on this schedule, and they're not as talented as Dallas, especially on offensive end. Dallas is all world on offensive end.
Roger,
I want to say this.
Can y'all agree with when I say this right here? There's 2 things. On defense, can you agree that the players have to stop doing whatever the hell they want to do and run the play as proper? And also, can we honestly say that the new age NFL, you do need a third top tier corner?
Yeah.
I want to say this right here. You know, my prayers go to Calvin really, and I understand what you're going through, but at the same time, I don't understand what you're going through. Because I just got to touch this right here. I just got to. You know, I understand what you're going through, but at the same time, I don't. I feel like you could at least showed up today. I feel like you left your team stranded, you put them down. You've been in the NFL, what, 2-3 years now? Like, I understand you have mental issues or whatever. Everybody has them. But we got to learn to deal with it. But you got to realize, you know how many wide receivers in this world wish they was in your shoes right now? A franchise wide receiver, a number one go-to wide receiver on the team. Like, I really want to know what's going on with you. You know, did you know these next couple of weeks was going to be tough and you want to opt out these 3 games so you wouldn't be to blame on offense? Or is Julio Jones in your ear telling you to get out the hell out of Atlanta? Like, what's going on with you?
Hey, I hope I get your
Marcellus
name
Wallace
right.
said
Eric,
best.
let's get Eric real fast. My bad. But I'm gonna get Eric. Did I get your name right, bro?
You talking to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Did I get your name right, Eric?
You got it right.
Okay.
So I watched y'all pregame show, and the first thing that took me was y'all 3 keys to the game. And if I had never ever watched football, I would have listened to y'all 3 keys and thought that Dallas was the team that was kind of middle of the pack, and the Atlanta Falcons was the team to beat in this matchup. Y'all talked about Anthony Rush and Jalen Mayfield and Jalen Hawkins and Olamide Zaccheaus. I'm like, these guys are legitimate nobodies across the landscape of the league. It's not a matchup for Atlanta, especially when Dallas just got embarrassed. They just got embarrassed. I know you didn't expect Dak Prescott to come out and play like he played against Denver 2 weeks in a row. You couldn't have thought that was going to happen. He missed a ton of throws. He was off. I don't know if he was worried about the calf. The offensive line played porous. They couldn't get the run game going. They really didn't get the run game going today either. I will say Atlanta's run defense surprised me today with the way they stood up. I didn't see much from Mike Pennell. I was like, if you're the Atlanta Falcons and you're relying on an Anthony Rush to be a deciding factor in this game, you're going to lose. Did I expect them to beat y'all by 40? Absolutely not. But I didn't see no 30-21 L. I didn't see it being close. I just don't think you had the weapons. I didn't expect Matt Ryan to look as bad as he looked either. Well, it was a lot of things that y'all came up with in the keys of the game. Now, the Kyle Pitts, I thought that was on point. I was like, Kyle Pitts is going to murder us. I just accounted him to have a $120 and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, so you're a Dallas fan. So you're Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. I was trying to figure like, huh? Like,
yes, sir. But I expected Kyle Pitts to come out and do his thing. Did Patterson get hurt today?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did?
He got nicked up early.
We dealt with a lot of like I said, a lot of things when we talk about our keys are predicated on what we believe we need for it to be successful. It's not in any way to say, all right, we're overall better than this team, because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. And we see today, for a prime example, nobody would have thought that the Washington football teams, and I'm fighting to say Redskins, would beat Tom Brady led Bucks. That Bucks team defense is loaded. So our keys are predicated on what we believe, what we need to go perfectly right. You know what I'm saying?
That's the cousin, right? That's my cousin right there talking about the Cowboys. So I'm glad he joined the show.
I don't know the guy that was talking before me, but I do want to say you're right about needing a really good nickel corner. That's why now, I don't know if y'all watch Rams games, but Jalen Ramsey goes in the slot now. He goes into the slot, and he has become a force. He's become a force in the slot. That's a huge deal, because a lot of teams, they'll move their number one receivers into the slot to get away from the Jalen Ramsey. What you gonna do when Jalen Ramsey follow you to the slot and Stephon Gilmore follow you to the slot? That's problematic for an offense, especially if you're not an offense that's loaded on the outside. Everybody can't trot out 3 wide receivers. Everybody, so if you only got a 1, and then you got to worry about a team's number 1, especially if that number 1 is Jalen Ramsey, that's gonna put you at a disadvantage. So if you got 1 great corner, you're doing well. If you got 2, you got a plethora. If you got 3, you should be embarrassed to how many good things you got.
And Dallas got 3 good ones. Lewis, Brown, and Diggs. They got 3 good ones.
No. We're not gonna praise Anthony Brown and Jordan.
They're not.
I'm gonna tell you, they're not terrible. I tell you, Anthony Brown. At the beginning of the year, I wanted Anthony Brown cut. I didn't even want his name to be Anthony Brown. I just wanted to be released. That's all I wanted to hear about Anthony Brown. I did not want him start on the outside. I'm like, he's going to get murdered. Week 1, everybody, Mike Evans murdered him. Chris Godwin murdered him. Antonio Brown, I'm like, it's going to be a long year. A long year. Anthony Brown has played extremely well. This is the best game Jordan Lewis has played in a Dallas Cowboy uniform.
Yeah.
Bar none. It's not close. It's not close. So they played above expectations today. Next week, they may get slaughtered.
I'm glad I'm glad you're keeping it a buck. My cousin actually coming up here keeping it a buck, because I thought she was gonna come up here and be like, "Yeah, we 40 points better than the Falcons." He actually came up here humble, saying like, "I didn't expect Matt Ryan to play this bad." I mean, I'm glad he came up here and giving us the reality, the Falcons fans, a true reality of. He knows the Falcons are not this bad. Like, I didn't see this coming. We ran into a buzzsaw. The Cowboys are good. I said that Tuesday night. The Cowboys, like the 2016 Falcons that went to the Super Bowl, they have a high-powered offense. If you can't stop that offense, it's going to be hard to beat them. I said that on Tuesday. I completely agree, and this is why I always say, respect your opponent. Like, I didn't say that Dallas. I knew that Dallas wasn't as bad as last week. And like Mike was saying, when we do our keys to victory, that's from our perspective what we need to do to win the game. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, because we know guys like Olamide Zaccheaus are just dudes. Those guys are up and down, and this is what we've been seeing from this Falcons team, is this inconsistency. I said it at the end of the show. If you go to like the last 3 minutes of the show, when we wrapped up the show, I said, I want to see if this Falcons team can be consistent, because we haven't seen any consistency. It's like we win one game, we lose one game. We win one game, that's the reason we 500, because we probably will win next week or Thursday, because we've been up and down, but we can't find that middle ground, that consistency where it's like, okay, we're putting it all together. Right now, it's up and down, up and down, up and down. And you're going to get that with young players. And when you don't have a plethora of talent, Dallas is more talented than us. I give it up to them. Dallas is the more talented team, and it showed today. But y'all also got a lot of other things that go your way. Like, everything bounced y'all way. Blocking a punt has nothing to do with talent. That has everything to do. Guys not doing their assignment. Like,
that's effort.
Yeah, that's effort. That's effort. That has nothing to do with talent. Like, when you getting punts, blocked, and things of that nature, that just goes to show you everything went Dallas' way.
Agreed.
I mean, plus receivers, like we seen, everything that could have went Dallas' way did. But like I said, hats off to the Dallas Cowboys. Like, my wife been letting me hear it all day. And pretty much everybody in my family that's Cowboys fans gonna let me hear it. But congrats to Dallas, man. Like I said.
Yeah. One of the things is, Mike, and I noticed I think you talked about it 2 shows ago, was, mixing up the play calling a little bit. I don't think Arthur Smith is doing a bad job with play calling. Like I said, the talent is just not there like it needs to be. But do you think teams are gonna start route sitting? I noticed there's a lot of crossing routes that are going on for the Falcons, because they just don't have the talent to go as deep as they want to. They have some talent. It showed in the Saints game last week going outfield. But do you think there's a lot of teams that are out here route sitting on underneath routes, and that's why we run into a lot of trouble? Because if you look at Brown and Lewis today, a lot of their pass breakups were on the short routes underneath. Lewis was not causing interference. He was putting his hand in, especially on the pass to Cordell Patterson. They're just putting their hands down. They're sitting on the underneath routes. So do you think a lot of teams are going to start doing that to the Falcons, forcing us to go deep?
I think it's as simple as you just got to find a running game. There's just too much. It's too much. There's too many defenders in the middle of the field for the Falcons to be successful in their passing game. Mike Davis has just been absolute atrocity.
Trash.
That dude has been like I try to refrain from calling people trash, but that dude has been.
You do. Hey, your favorite line is a spade is a spade. Call a spade a spade.
Man, I'm very disappointed in what I've seen. That dude is everything he's doing is just been terrible. He can't pass block. He fumbles the ball. He's dropping passes. Like he's literally doing nothing right at all.
The Wayne Gallman show coming. I said the Wayne Gallman show is coming.
It has to. It has to at some point, and I think that's a lot of the issues. Teams are just sitting. That's why you're seeing those tip passes, interceptions from Matt Ryan. Teams are just sitting and packing in the middle of the field, and anytime you got defenders packing in the middle field, Matt Ryan, only thing he has to do is try to improvise, get out, and do those types of things and get the ball deep. Receivers again, these receivers they're just not very good at getting open.
Yeah,
they're just not very good at getting open. Receivers got to get open. It's really that simple.
You said it best. Like I said, until we find a running game, we're gonna be in trouble when it comes to you become predictable. It starts to look like last season. The problem with the Falcons last season was we couldn't run the ball. We weren't physical enough. And you have to create that physical element. And today, like I stated before, and I've said this even in that Eagles game early in the season, the first game of the season, this Falcons team is not built to play from behind. It's built to play with a lead. You saw when the Cowboys got ahead, I think like 21-3, or it was just like we still in the second half, we were running the ball. And I'm like, why are you running the football? Like at this point, we have to get in the hurry up because at this point, you're facing the clock. We can't stop Dallas on the other side. So you're going to have to score points fast. And this team is not built that way. Like this team can't win multiple ways. The only way this Falcons team can win, get a lead or ball control. That's the way that this Falcons team is going to win. If you got to put it on Matt Ryan and this offensive line that just try to hold up and you got to just drop back and pass without a Calvin Ridley, this Falcons team can't win that way. You've seen Matt Ryan getting sacked a bunch of times today. The reason that happened is because this is not a drop back passing team. That's not what Arthur Smith's scheme is. He's not Dirk Cutter. He's not meant to throw 40 times a game. That's not what his offense is predicated on. Go look at what he did in Tennessee. It's predicated off the run. So if you can't run the ball, we're going to struggle. So we have to find a running game. If that means putting Mike Davis on the bench for Wayne Gallman and CP, we got to do what we got to do. I want to see Quadri Olsen. Put Quadri Olsen in the game. You activated him. He might be better than Mike Davis. He does the same exact things Mike Davis does. He's a big physical bruising battering ram. Give him the ball and see what he got. Put Mike Davis on the bench. I know we gave him that money, but he's not performing. So at this point, I mean, at some point, you got to call a spade, like you said below me. Like, let's keep a spade. He's been basuda. It's like he's been trash. Like at this point, he's been basuda, dog. Like he ain't been doing nothing, dog. Like it's a reason why CP been getting we've been heaping praise on CP.
Right.
Because somebody ain't carrying their load. And it's Mike Davis. I know he's from the city. I know he's from Georgia, and nobody want to talk bad about him. But I'm not from Georgia, so I'll talk bad about him. He hasn't been performing, dog. The dude hasn't performed. Like, let's just be real. Let's just be real. The dude is not performing.
Trash, man.
He ain't been performing. Like, I don't like to call guys trash, but let's be real. The dude is not performing. The dude is averaging like two or 3 yards a carry. Like, that ain't gonna get it, bro.
But then again, if you like Mike said, Mike and Ju said a couple shows ago, man, you can't put stuff like that on tape. When people find out that you're not physical and they know that you're not physical, they don't give a damn about scheming no more. They're like, okay, we can just out physical these jokers and we're gonna beat them. We ain't gotta worry about a scheme or nothing because they soft as baby shit. They just soft.
As soon as you touch Mike Davis' hands, he fumbling the ball. And like I said, we try our best to refrain from calling players trash, but at some point, man, when guys are dropping, like this dude is dropping wide, nobody is near him. He's dropping easy slants. Like he's wide open.
He's not
We
a
need you to
receiver.
hold on to, bruh. Come on, man.
I mean, I get like it ain't nobody there. You can catch that, but if you take a player and put him outside of his element, you can't expect anything. That's why you got a CP. That's why you use him in a multitude of ways that you use him, because he can do so. You expect Mike Davis to be able to pick up 31. That's what you bring in a guy like that for, not to spit him out and run a slant. Even though he should be capable of catching that slant, that was a huge drop.
Man, I ain't trying to hear that bullshit. You wide open. You wide open. You wide open. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Oh hell no! Like, come on, bro.
It is
You
what it
wide
is.
Be
open.
nice, Mike. He trying to be nice. That was some bull.
Look.
Yeah,
It's a
bro.
reason why. It's
Oh
a
hell
reason
no!
why.
If you wide open, you by your damn self. You by yourself, bro.
It's a reason why Arthur Smith didn't throw the ball to Derrick Henry, because that's not what you got Derrick Henry for. You got Derrick Henry to turn around and hand the ball to him. Here, take this up the middle.
It'll be one thing if that's all he was doing wrong. But this motherfucker ain't doing. He's doing nothing right. Literally nothing. He's fumbling the ball. He's barely running. He's slow. Like he's slow to hit the hole. He's literally doing nothing right.
I hate when people from other teams try to make it seem like it's just what it is. Man, he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing a damn thing.
He's literally doing nothing right.
Good.
Like Matt Ryan said, I appreciate him pass blocking. Like, what the heck? Like, what are we talking about? You appreciate a running back pass blocking? Like, come on, bro.
There's value in that. There's value in that.
He does actually do a good job of pass blocking, but that's
no. We not flag on the play. Flag on the play. We're not doing this. We need running backs to run the ball. We need running backs to catch the ball. We need them to do those two things. If you can just so happen to pass block, that's a plus. But he's not doing what we need him to do most. That's run the ball and catch it. Most of all,
it's almost like your grandmama saying, you know, you're an ugly child, but she'd be like, "Oh, he's so handsome." No, I
like I said, look, if he was just running the ball well, I have no issues with him making mistakes, dropping passes, because like you said, you're absolutely right. That's not what he's like. He's not a receiver. You know what I'm saying? So if he just so happened to catch the ball, then fine. But he's not doing what we need him to do, and that's run the ball. And that's why I have there's just no excuses for anything else. When you're not doing what we need you to do, it's like Matt Ryan. I don't need Matt Ryan to damn be Michael Vick. He can't run. But when he runs, it's a plus. We need Matt Ryan to throw the ball. When he's throwing the ball, he's doing his job. But this man ain't doing his job. We need him to be a runner.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying. Arthur Smith offense worked in Tennessee because he had a Derrick Henry. He didn't spit Derrick Henry out. And I don't care how wide open, he didn't do it because he knows the strengths of Derrick Henry. You got to play to the strengths of the personnel. You can't put the scheme over the players. I ain't never agreed with that. You can't do it.
But what I will say, Aaron, and I agree with you, but with Mike Davis, you know what he's really struggling with? It's kind of what I believe that Calvin Ridley was struggling with. It's the pressure of being paid that money. Because if you go look at his tape when he was in Carolina, he actually caught the ball really well last year for the Carolina Panthers. That was one of the reasons why Arthur Smith wanted him a part of his scheme. So it's not that he can't catch. I've said this for the last couple weeks. Mike Davis is pressing at this point. He has the talent. He's just not doing it. He's not performing. Like, let's just be real. He's not performing, because if you go look at his tape in Carolina, he was one of the better running backs as far as running back, like hits after yards after contact. He was one of the best in the league last year. Yeah, he was great at catching the ball out of the backfield. But I believe in Carolina, he didn't have any expectations because he was filling in for Christian McCaffrey. But now with the Falcons, it's like you're brought in to be that number one guy. And some guys just don't have the kahunas to do it. Let's be real. Some guys just don't have, just don't got it, bro. Like when we brought Michael Turner in from the San Diego Chargers back in the day. He was backing up LaDainian Tomlinson. So when the Falcons got him, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be a top-notch running back. We paid him big money, but I had never seen him do it with the Chargers. Like, yeah, he would have a couple big games when LT was out. That's one thing. But being that number one guy, and coming in, you're the number one guy on the depth chart, and you're gonna get paid. Some guys can't live up to the contract. Some guys it's just too big of a spotlight for them. And I think that's what Mike Davis is struggling with. Like, when he was backing up Christian McCaffrey, nobody expected anything out of him. Anything he did in Carolina was a plus. But here in Atlanta, because we paid him now to be the number one guy, like he was sought after, now it's like you got pressure on you now. You know what I'm saying? There's expectation here. When you were in Carolina as a backup, there was no expectation. But now with the expectation, I really feel like he's kind of struggling because he's pressing. Now he knows that all eyes are on you. You back home. You talked all of this stuff prior to the season. Now it's time to put up or shut up. Just like we said with Takk McKinley. Like, you did this talking. Now we want to see the production. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it really is with Mike Davis. He has all the talent in the world, but we want to see it come out. Like, we're midway through the season and we ain't seen a 100-yard game yet. Like, that's a problem. When you're getting paid big dollars, that's a problem.
Can't argue that.
Yeah, he was doing that. He was doing it in Carolina last year. He was catching the ball.
But he was RB. He was RB too.
45 yards going on the field on the screen. I mean,
right.
He can catch the ball.
Yeah.
That happens a lot across the league. Like wide receivers, they've been a number 3 or number 2 somewhere. Juju Smith in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
AB was there. Everybody was like, Pittsburgh got 2 number 1s. Pittsburgh got 2. No, AB been drawing coverage. Schuster been eating because AB. Now it ain't no AB, and unfortunately he got hurt this year, but he didn't do nothing last year either.
Right.
A lot of people think Chase Claypool is wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh. It is what it is. I mean, it's ultimately it's levels to it.
That's it.
It's
levels to this, man. I mean,
you take your chances.
Look no further than Calvin Ridley. Look no further than Russell Gage. They thought it was sweet when Julio Jones was here.
That's true.
Now, when it's time for you, the spotlight is all on you, and Calvin Ridley was drawing all the coverage. He's seen why Julio Jones, being Julio Jones, is a tough task. Now, Kyle Pitts is seeing what it's like to be the number one dude, and everybody's triple teaming you, double teaming you, and there's still pressure for you to, go out there and be able to come down with those catches. And Mike talk about coming down on your neck, going across the middle, making all of those big catches and taking those huge hits. Like, it's pressure. Like, it's a difference from being that number 2 guy or being that number 3 guy like Russell Gage now is that number 2 guy. He's seen it was a difference from playing in that slot and playing out there with the big dogs, with the Jalen Ramseys covering you consistently, the number 1 and number 2 guys covering you. Like, it's a huge difference.
Hey, Drew, what we gonna do? Drew, we're gonna shut the whole west side and the east side of Atlanta down, and let people and keep all the athletes from going to the strip clubs in Atlanta. Because everybody seen it. If everybody we draft from the state of Georgia in the area of Atlanta, they come here and be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm back home. I ain't gotta show up no more."
I'm not gonna lie to you though. I'm kind of happy y'all moved on from Julio.
I'm glad we moved on too. Now that I'm seeing them injuries, like I'm happy.
But he was getting them injuries in Atlanta too. Like I know. Of course, I'm from.
He ain't have them like this though. This year
they wasn't compounding multiple times within the season, but
he robbing Tennessee right now. He robbing them with that contract. He robbing Tennessee with a ski mask. Like he's stealing.
No ski mask. He don't need no ski mask.
No ski mask. He mask off. He future.
That's it. He's telling them, pay me. Mask off. Exactly. He robbing them boys.
I know a lot of Titans fans that was ecstatic about that. I was like, bro, you may get 10 games out of Julio. That does not help you. And then you just lost Derrick Henry and Julio not there.
And it's crazy.
AJ Brown didn't do nothing today.
It's crazy.
Not a number 1. Everybody hyped AJ Brown about the last year. He's done nothing. I know he's on my
really done nothing.
I wish I would have not drafted him.
But you know what I will say?
Titans wide receiver.
But you know what I will say? Their defense has stepped it up when these past 2 games with all these injuries happening, and that honestly just leads me into thinking like this is why coaching is important. Like I have hope watching the Falcons games week to week, thinking that okay, because like one day they're gonna catch it. Because this is the same way I felt like how you guys are feeling right now, defeated a little bit about like Mike Davis and maybe some other players on the defensive end. I felt the same exact way about Isaiah Oliver last year. This man kept making mistake after mistake after
All you
mistake.
gotta do is
after
listen to
mistake.
me. Just listen to me. That's it. Listen to what I'm saying. I've been telling y'all this man's a player. Listen to the great one. They don't call me the great one for no reason. I've been saying it. It makes your life easy, okay?
The next time I hear you say Zeke is useless, I'm gonna need you to get rid of this YouTube.
Oh, he was useless because Dak threw for like 400 yards. That man didn't do a damn thing today.
He didn't have to.
Oh, that's my point. He's useless.
His ass been out fumble again. He do another fumble because he did it 3 times last year against Atlanta. He better hold on to that damn ball.
Oh, he did you guys watch the Hard Knocks episode? He been taking good care of the football.
He fumbled today, and he fumbled today, didn't he? Was that Pollard?
Oh, really?
They got the ball punched out.
No, Zeke fumbled.
I don't know. Zeke fumbled.
That was
today?
Zeke.
That was Zeke. Zeke fumbled. Yeah, Grant
Zeke
knocked
fumbled?
out his hand.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
All right, it's a first fumble in week 10. That's fine. It's
Hey, you know what,
week 10.
Aaron?
He
I
had
like the way
five.
you. I like the way
He
you
had 5 at
justify
this
it.
point.
I like the way you justify it, Aaron.
Honestly, if you look at it from a year-to-year basis, that's improvement. You can't knock if he had 6 fumbles at this point, then I'd be sitting here with you like, what the fuck? Why do we have Elliott if all he gonna do is give the ball to the other team?
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest issues before Dak got hurt last year. My biggest issue was, all right, the offensive line was terrible. The defense was worse than terrible. If there's a word for that, that's what the defense was. But you can't have a Dak and a Zeke out there and then they throwing interceptions and fumbling. It does nothing for the morale of the team when the leaders of the team are playing like the rest of the team. How you gonna motivate somebody? That's how you get spectacular play from players that you don't expect it to. Like, oh, this guy played above expectations this season. That's because he followed somebody else. If you fumbling it, what good is it gonna do me to go out here and play good? They still gonna give you the ball, $60 million running back. You still gonna get the rock. I'm not gonna take no touches from you, especially when we lose it.
And that's why Arthur Smith has a decision to make with Mike Davis because he's not performing, and you getting Gallman and CP coming in. They're the guys. They're not supposed to be the starting the running backs, and they're performing better than him. And like you got, like I said, you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. Let's get to this $4.99. Why are we not making adjustments on the fly? AJ Terrell should have shadowed CeeDee Lamb and Gallman as a starter. Well, this is what we was talking about. Dallas just has too many weapons, and that's like that's why I said I've always stated, and I've been saying this for the last 2-3 years. Dallas is just they really are what the Falcons were in 2016. They have so many weapons. They have a good quarterback, good running game, good offensive line. The receivers, they have a great receiving core, good tight end. They just loaded. You know what I'm saying? They just loaded.
Great play caller. Go ahead and say that.
Great play caller.
He doing his thing. He doing his thing. He gonna be a head coach soon. Just watch.
I hope not.
Who? Dan Quinn?
No. The offensive coordinator
I was
for
about
Dallas.
to say,
Kellen
hold
Moore.
on.
Kellen Moore.
I thought he was about Dan Quinn. I was about to hang the damn phone up.
I was about to say the same thing.
Kellen Moore. When he was talking about the offense, I said good play caller. Throw that in too. They got great players and they got a great play calling. Like if you watch that game today, if you watch Dallas period this year, Kellen Moore is one of the better play callers in the game. Like dude is just smart with his play calling, brilliant play caller. So when you got great weapons and then you throw in there a good play caller, like when we had Kyle Shanahan, you dangerous. You dangerous.
That's not good play calling. That's great play calling. I've been like, I'm not gonna lie, I can't think. I'm being real honest. I don't think that there's a better offense, like in terms of play calling, in the NFL right now better than the Cowboys right now, and that's including the Cardinals, the Packers. I don't know, tossing any Chargers, Cincinnati. Nobody.
Well, the
Nobody
Packers
right
aren't
now.
good. The Packers are just Aaron. They just got Aaron Rodgers. They're not a good football team. And people
I mean, they
think
have
they
some
are. They've been
decent play
thinking it.
calls.
They've been thinking it for years. The Packers aren't a good team. They just have a damn good quarterback that covers a lot of flaws in Green Bay, and they show when Jordan Love was out there. They got a lot of injuries too, especially on the back end.
Yeah.
So I really need Seattle to pull this W out today, so we can get the top of the conference.
As a fan, I understand, like, we have personnel and that's not going to change, but I just want to see more improvement, like play calling wise from the DMPs. That's all. Like, I don't look anymore, like, or judge them by the score anymore. I just want to see improvement. That's all I care about. So
I actually said that in the comments of y'all pregame, because y'all put a big emphasis on DMPs being so patient as a DC and a play caller. But my question was, so what? He was like, he likes to control the game. So what do you do when the other offense gets to dictate the game? That puts you at a disadvantage because your thing is to pretty much play safe. But when Dallas go out there, they score 2 quick TDs, then they get a block punt. Like, the floodgates just opened up pretty much after that 4th and 7. It just got out of hand. What do you do as a DC then?
What is there to do?
I can answer that.
Hold on. No. We're gonna look at this logically. What you said, if the offense is on,
Mm-hmm.
they're taking it to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
What, as the defensive coordinator, can he do to change the momentum on that?
That's my point. There is nothing that he can do. It didn't matter how patient he was going to be. At some point, you had to think Dallas will get on track, even as a DC. You don't expect your defense to come out here and perform like Denver did on this day. Because, one, Dak wasn't off today. We knew he wouldn't be off today. You had to think that Dak would play better today. So, as a DC, if you want to control the game, what do you do when you can't? You have to make adjustments for one. But what adjustments are you going to make? Because there are just it's way too many things to worry about with Dallas.
If you ask me,
hold on, wait. This is what we're talking about. This is because this is a microwave society. We only see what we want to see. If we are offensive minded, all we really focus on is offense. The NFL is all about a team game. So you can play poorly defensively, but if your offense can help you combat what you don't do well, all right, it doesn't matter. So he can have a poor game as our defense coach, but everything works together. This is all about team. This is all about having, like, for instance, we got Matt Ryan. They got up to a 28-3 lead. All we needed, they didn't need the defensive coordinator to be great. They needed them to do one thing, get one stop. It's all about putting it together as a team. So we can sit up here and say, Dallas did this well, or, Dallas, they ran the ball well and Dak played well. But if they don't get those turnovers, if they don't stop the Falcons, it's getting into a shootout. It's the same thing for DMPs. Everything got to work together. So it's a lot of people just like we put so much emphasis on one side of the ball. We don't focus on the defense. We don't focus on special teams. We don't focus on coaching and player development. All these aspect goes into making a great team and getting the Super Bowl. So that's my point.
I mean, I kind of underestimated them, Mike. That's why I underestimated them, Aaron. Like, on Tuesday night show, I didn't foresee the Dallas Cowboys shutting down Matt Ryan in the offense. I didn't see that. I didn't see 3 and outs coming. Like, if you've been watching the Falcons lately, Matt Ryan been red hot, and he pretty much torched the Saints, which they have one of the better defenses in the league. So I didn't see Dallas defense coming into this game and having us go 3 and out the first couple times, stopping us on 4th down. Like I didn't see that happen, to be completely honest with you. And that's why I always say respect your opponent, because coming into this game, the offense was playing very well. And that's what Mike is talking about. The way you combat fire, fire is with fire. If this is a gun battle, you better have a gun with you too. If this is a shootout, and today we had a gun with no bullets in it because we ain't do nothing. Like when you go to Dallas and score 3 points, I didn't see that coming. I would have betted any kind of money that the Falcons would have scored a touchdown today. And in this game, they didn't have it. They didn't have it.
But you know what, Drew? Like I said earlier, when you put stuff on tape, teams look at that, right?
Yeah.
So Dallas, let's call a spade today. Dallas did not respect Atlanta whatsoever. When you go from 4th on 4th down, what is it? 4 times they went on 4th down
and get it,
and then the penalty happened, and then you go for 2. It's like, bro, it's almost like that bully in school. Like, bro, I'm gonna whoop your ass either way. I don't respect you, and that's what it is. It was no respect. Dallas. Listen, not only was it emotion for Dan Quinn, like Mike always say, quit worrying about what they doing and focus on what you doing. But when you get bullied and you break somebody's spirit, that's what happened today. That you got your spirit broke. So not only when I heard somebody on the chat or on Twitter earlier, we need to get rid of number 45 and number 54 because they ain't got no heart. When your spirit is broken, what else? I mean, how else do you combat that? Yeah, you want to see your players still play hard. But you got your ass Lou Kane today out there on the football field. Your spirit was broken. So that's what happened. When your spirit is broken,
where the other side of the ball comes in. That's what we're talking about. When the defense is getting their ass handed to them, the offense got to step up and say, all right, today we didn't have that. Everybody, look, we got our ass whooped in all 3 phases. All 3 phases of football today. They got their ass handed to them. So, again, we can sit up here and say we could have done this better and did that. At the end of the day, Dallas just like last week, Dallas got their ass handed to them. Things like this happen.
It's a whooping like your mama used to give you. It's that whooping you used to get when your mama used to give you, and you get your ass tore out the frame and you be in the room, you still crying, and she come in there and tell you, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. That's what happened to the Falcons today.
They just keep on coming. They just keep on coming at it. But we're going on about 1:30. I know there's some games going on. Everybody want to kind of get back to it. So we kind of give everybody last takes. We'll start with Aaron, then we'll go to Alex.
I mean, I'm happy.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are.
My team responded the way I hope that they would. One thing, I guess my last thing is I think Mike McCarthy deserves a ton of credit for today because he could have easily came out here and not been prepared. But Dallas was prepared today. They were prepared on both sides of the ball. Some of that has to do with Dan Quinn knowing Atlanta as well, at least knowing the players. He may not know the scheme, but he do know the players. And I think Kellen Moore got back to he got in his groove again today too. So, but the big takeaway is you got to give Mike McCarthy credit for having the team prepared because Atlanta was riding high off emotion. This could have easily been what they call a trap game, but we avoided it and on the next week.
Alex?
I mean, the scoreboard kind of just says it all. What I want to see next game is I want to see DMPs looking at this and also like really taking notes, like maybe going more too high and just saying we'll live with it. We'll mix up our coverages. We'll play more split zones. We'll do something. And in the DB room, I gotta see improvement. Like Avery Williamson or Chris Williamson or whoever the 35 is. I understand he's a rookie, but you don't have that luxury right now. You have to at least take notes. You got to look at some Isaiah Oliver film and be like, all right, you see the hand placement, you see how quick he does it. You got to take notes, like because everyone on this team right now, we can't have this game. We can't have our spirits broken like this. So I need to see note taken and I need to see adjustments, and that's how we at least that's how we move in the right direction. I'm not saying we're gonna win the game, but that's how we start moving in the right direction.
All right, Jarvis, what you got, bro?
All I want to see, Mike, Jew, the rest of the team on here, is I want to see leadership. I don't care. I don't care what goes on from this point forward. Yes, we identify we don't have the talent. Yes, we know that this is not where we want to be. But I want to see leadership. Leadership dictates a lot on what goes on. If I could see leadership, I could see people. I wouldn't mind seeing Matt Ryan on the sideline. Somebody like Mike Davis ain't doing their job. Go get in his ass on the sideline. I want to see leadership. I'm tired of seeing people, get with the whole "oh, it's gonna be okay" narrative. No, I want to see somebody. Hey, you doing wrong. You need to be over here. Somebody messed up on the assignment. Fix it. Get it done. You seen that with Dallas today. Hey man, that ain't where you supposed to be at. You supposed to be right here. So yeah, we need to really leadership really needs to be a focal point for next game.
All right, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in as always. I appreciate my cousin jumping on with us and adding that cowboy narrative to the post game show. I told him we'll have him on, so I'm glad he jumped on. But what I want to see is improvement. I said that all season long. Improvement. I said that my going into the season, my prediction was this Falcons team would make the playoffs, and I think that they're lingering around that 7th seed. That they still going to be in the playoff. They're in the realm of making the playoffs. I think they'll still make the playoffs because you're seeing around the league, there's no consistency. Jarvis just put up the score, 23-3, I believe. Arizona
it's 31-3 now, Drew.
31-3. The Panthers are whooping up on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I think they without their quarterback. I think that the Cardinals, their quarterback is hurt. So I want to, I know that that can play huge because Kyler Murray is a huge part of that. But still, from week to week, we've seen the Buccaneers go down today to the Washington football team. Taylor Heineke. I mean, everybody was ready to rip the Falcons a new one when we lost to Taylor Heineke.
Yep.
So Tom Brady, the GOAT, lost to Taylor Heineke today. So let's be real. Like, it happens. You're going to have those games where you're going to get it taken to you. That's why we say any given Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's why I say respect your opponent. So this week, we got the Patriots coming up Thursday. This is another test. Like I said, they're not as potent as Dallas is on offense. There's no excuses. Let's get back to the drawing board.
38-7.
That's it. Let's get back to the drawing board. As Jarvis said, I want to see leadership out of this team. I really think that this team has great leadership. I'm not putting any of this on DMPs because sometimes you're just outmatched. And today the Cowboys just had our number. We were outmatched. I don't care on what type of scheme you run. Avery Williams can't cover CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. He don't want to see CeeDee Lamb. He just don't want to see him. That's just the real. Just like if we had Calvin Ridley, none of those corners over there, including Diggs, can see Calvin Ridley one-on-one. Maybe in some type of scheme where it's pressure on Matt Ryan, but if you just let them go head up, Calvin Ridley's that dude. You ain't seeing him one-on-one. We didn't have him today, so it is what it is. But at this point, I want to see continued growth. I talked about it in the last show. It's about consistency and continuing to develop these young players because they're young. Jarvis talked about it. We have a lot of young guys. It's going to take time for these guys to build that confidence, to learn how to play in the NFL, to learn DMPs' scheme, because this is the first year. All these guys are in their first year, even Matt Ryan. This is a whole new scheme, a whole new coaching staff. So we got to be patient. I know we're in the world where we want to win now and everything is microwave. We want it now, instant gratification. But it's going to take time. We got to give these guys time. Look, we won 4 games last season. We've already won 4 games this season. That's improvement right there. Let's just call a spade a spade. And that's all I got.
There it is.
Well, I appreciate everybody for joining us. But I'm going to just say it like this. And I'm going to just keep it simple. What little cowboy? Why are you?
Aaron ass can't come back on here no more. We ain't inviting his ass no more. I'm already sick of Aaron already. He already.
Hey man, I feel like he's finna say something so drastic. Like the build up, it better not be anticlimactic. It better be something serious. Because you building it up. You building it up.
No, but I think I love the fact that we can get on here and talk like grown men and have fun.
Yeah.
Because a couple shows ago, Mike know, a couple shows ago, somebody got on there and just ape shit on the call. But I really enjoy that we get on here from different fan bases and have a good talk and still respecting each other as men. So I appreciate that.
That's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, man, it's really just we just got our ass whipped. I mean, just like this is call it what it is. Y'all want up here talking about improvement and I want to see a cover 3 and cover 4 and all that bullshit. We just got our ass whooped. Somebody got it in the damn eye. Rock 'em, sock 'em, whatever the hell you call that damn thing. We just got our ass pop, and we didn't recover from it. We got Mike Tyson. We got that Buster Douglas Mike Tyson of the day. Look, bro, let's stop trying to put all this scheme and he had this amount of numbers and if he would have threw the ball with this and we just got our ass molly-whopped, okay? Molly-whopped, and it's as simple as that. It's just simple. All right, everybody want to come up with these DMP. He need to show a cover 3 scheme, and he need to come with the A bit. Look, sometimes it's really just that simple. A fat motherfucker sit on you gonna feel it. That's essentially what the hell did they want? We got Yokozuna today, okay? We got Yokozuna. Yokozuna sat on our ass and we couldn't get the hell up. All right? All right. Thank you guys for joining us. All right. This has been a post-game show. And Aaron, all right, I'm gonna bring you back when you lose, okay? I don't like your smile. I don't like your smile.
I'm not the average. Hey, I'm not the average.
You your cousin. I'm gonna get on Drew on Twitter. Like, Drew, where your cousin at? Where your cousin at, Drew?
A lot of people like to put all the Cowboy fans in this one category. I'm not that guy. As good as Dallas has looked this year, I have not once mentioned Super Bowl. I know I stay in my lane. It is you have to prove to me that we're going to this. You have to be in it before I say we going to the win the NFC Championship game. Guess what I'm gonna say? Well, we going to the motherfucking Super Bowl. You're gonna be talking shit because you can't play me. Then last week I bet a Broncos fan and I gave him 15 points, and then we got blown the fuck out. I said, "See, this is why I stay in my lane. I do the humble approach works for me. It works. So I'm not the everyday Cowboys fan. I'm a little different than what you use.
Much love, much respect.
It's all love, baby.
Listen, anybody is welcome on here, man. Like I said, we're not your average show. We let everybody have their opinion. Get on here, have fun, and just show love. That's all it's about, man. So that being said, man, I'm about to go get something to eat. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I don't want to think about Falcons football until at least on a whole nother day.
And welcome back, K-Styles.
Welcome back, K-Styles. Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
Who's K-Styles? That's the other guy right here?
He's the co-host. He's the co-host of the Heavy Hitter. So yeah, he's been under the weather. And he came back today. So it's all good, man. It's all good. That being said, man, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. Deuces.
Deuces. God bless you.